and it would go home with the student, and it would contain their homework assignments and little tidbits that I thought might be of interest to them. I don't know if teachers in their busy schedules have time for that, but if you can do that, it goes a long way with forging that communication that's necessary between teachers and parents and students.
If I can jump back in on the open house, what I did at open house is I actually had centers set up in my classroom. I had tables in my room. So at each table was a different activity that we had done so far that school year. And so the parents and the siblings were able to go around to these different centers and try some things out. I had examples of student notebooks out because I'm really big on keeping a science notebook, so parents could see what we were doing. And then at the end of the year open house, I do lots and lots and lots of hands-on with my students, and I take pictures of them as we go along. We make edible models of just about everything we study, and part of the rule of the edible model is you have to have your photograph taken with your model. That's my record of your work. And so at the end of the year, in addition to the centers, I would have a slideshow going of the students' pictures and their models and activities.
I was a big picture taker as well. And not only were the students pleased by that, that they could show others what they'd been involved with, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom, because we did a lot. We had a 10-acre wetland, and so we did a lot of outdoor things. But in the open house, you see all of these projects that elementary kids work on, and they're all over the walls in the kindergarten, the first grade, second grade, but when you get up into the high school, those kinds of things are just not there. So exhibit their work, yes. Even if there isn't an audience beyond the classroom or the school building, at least exhibit their work so people can see what they're doing, and that encourages them to do more.
The kids love it. The parents love it. I do this little activity with the water cycle where the kids make a mini water cycle in a giant Ziploc bag. And so I had to go looking for windows to put these things up in. We had them in the hallway, at the entrances to the school. They were everywhere because I wanted every kid's water cycle to work, so it needed access to the sun. But it was great.
I had kind of a question and comment all rolled into one. I was putting together something Lee said and something Linda said a little bit later. Lee was commenting in her middle school classroom that the girls often seem to feel more comfortable working collaboratively. And then Linda's example of a career where she was looking for role models was at the car dealership where the young woman had this job as a service writer where, yes, she had to know all the mechanical aspects of cars, which is science, but what is she doing with it? She's doing a very social, collaborative kind of thing, working with the customer. So here's my question, idea. Is there a way we can emphasize science and math careers to entice girls that involve teamwork and social collaboration? And I don't think it's an accident that medicine appeals to so many women because it's a helping career. So just any of you, your comments on that or other careers that you think are particularly appealing because of that?
I think girls do want to be involved in a helping career, and sometimes they do not see how much science and math and technology and engineering contributes to the better good for society. I know, think about engineering. Where would we be without engineers building all this technology equipment that you have in this studio? So that's something that, you know, I think we have to emphasize more, how we are helping. It's not just the doctor working with the patient, but we might not be helping one-on-one, but we are helping maybe a lot more people than one-on-one.
Use that natural inclination to want to be a helper to come up with other ways to learn this material. And then when the girls become more confident and comfortable with the material, that sort of in itself opens doors to things that they had not previously considered. In my classroom, I used tiered instruction. And so I had 3 different sets of activities the kids would do to accomplish a particular objective. And some of these activities could be collaborative and some of them were individual. They could choose among a certain number of them at each level of exploration. And a lot of my girls would choose to do things like create a game to teach this particular concept to other children. But anything that increases their comfort level and confidence in a particular subject, I think then that just opens new doors.
And piggybacking on that, in Lenore City where we had that 10-acre wetland, some of my students would help middle school students to understand all of the different nuances of the things that they could experience outdoors in that wetland. And that mentoring experience, I think, helped to build that confidence. And it was that socialization with the younger children, looking up to them as a role model that they really enjoyed. Of course, my hidden agenda was hopefully to get a math or a science teacher, you know, because they would discover that they really liked working with younger children. But I think a lot of them took those experiences with them and remember those.
Yeah. Vanderbilt has an organization called the Vanderbilt Student Volunteers for Science, and they go into middle schools in the Metro Nashville area and do all kinds of hands-on science activities. And the students that go out are from across the academic spectrum, and that's really fun too, because you get people coming from areas that the students wouldn't normally consider, and so I think it's a really great program. And those kinds of programs like WISE are really, really helpful.
And any insights about math being a helping career?
It's not as obviously so. It's more of a support to the science. But help me out here.
Well, cranking the numbers at a bank and
Sure.
saving for retirement.
Sure. I mean, actuarial, doing the statistics and that type thing is. But again, I don't think people, you really have to do some thinking to see that connection. So.
George Castro at San Jose State that said that mathematics is the language of science. It is, you know, my husband is a chemist, I'm a biologist, so we go back and forth in my house about the central science. Actually, mathematics is probably the central science.
But people don't think about it as being a helping career. Yeah.
I have a personal example of how it's a helping career. I have a daughter who majored in sociology and was really interested in the sociology of healthcare. And she took a lot of stat because you can't get out of sociology without a lot of stat. Her job now is she works for a company that helps nursing homes figure out what they're doing well and what they aren't doing well. And what she's doing is collecting data and analyzing it mathematically using SPSS and stat packages. And if you had told that child that she was going to be a mathematician of any kind, she wouldn't have been happy.
Right. Same for public health.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, lots of different.
They know how to mix those solutions correctly.
That's right. Yeah.
To help us get through our surgery or old age.
That's right. And with a lot of girls are thinking about pharmacy these days, but there's a lot of math and science behind just preparing these medicines and counting out these medicines for, you know, as even a pharmacy tech. So there's a lot of math involved in helping careers. Do we have any other questions?
How can you help a girl and make sure that she can survive